He's not here. He didn't even come up here to plug this today. But I said, no, we're going to talk about it. Plus, it funds Infowars.com. It funds our whole operation. What we're doing here, this is the out-of-the-park product. InfowarsLife.com. 120 vegetarian-based capsules. I'm done ranting about that, Dr. Grube. I want to get into Ebola. I want to get into how toxins enter the body, how to truly detox. This is part of it. But let's just plug out of the gates here. And, you know, infomercial now. How did you develop it? Why does it work so well? Because I'd taken Kaido sand. I'd done other herbal cleanses. They did something. This is dramatic.
Well, first of all, when I was doing my research years ago and looking for the root cause of disease, what I found was I was looking at the medical profession saying, what are they not teaching their doctors? What is the big secret that Big Pharma never wants you to find?
My personal trainer says, what's going on, dude? Your stomach has gone down by half in 2 weeks. Sorry, go ahead.
People will lose 10 to 15 pounds, and a lot of that's compaction because you have 35 feet of intestinal tract, you know, about 10 feet of large intestine and 25 feet of small intestine. And when you put toxic residue year after year after year after year, it can build up, especially in your small intestine. So, you know, Hollywood, this product was developed in 1998, and even people from Hollywood have used it to drop dress size, you know, 1 or 2 sizes of their dress, the women, before the Emmys and all the other things. But the good thing about it is, yeah, it's not fat loss. It's that compacted, built up matter that you've had that turns hard as a rock for years and years and years and years in your system. And
just like you get plaque in your arteries, you get it in your intestines.
The reason why I developed this product, I mean, who came up with the formula initially was Nikola Tesla and Eugene Bloss in a hotel room in 1898. They came up with a way to stabilize monatomic oxygen onto a magnesium compound. Now, the reason why it works so good and what I discovered when I started doing the research and tracing back a link to every single disease and symptoms that a body can have was that health starts in the intestinal tract or colon, and disease also starts in the intestinal tract and colon. You know, when I found out and linked, you know, all the toxins that you're taking in from food, everything that you're getting from the beverages that you drink, the acidity that comes into the bowel, I mean, every single thing starts in the intestinal lining in the bowel. From the time that you look at food.
But explain how this works, because at first I was kind of scared. I'm like, oxygen tablets is going to puff up my gut. And you're like, no, it's designed to go through and time release with what you developed and patented. Explain that to people. It's amazing.
Right. Okay, so what happens is...
I thought it would hurt or something. It doesn't.
Well, most people aren't having, you know, 2 to 3 bowel movements a day, number one. So they need help. I mean, the fact is, it's normal nowadays for people to have 2 or 3 bowel movements a week instead of 2 or 3 bowel movements a day like the animals. But how it works is if we want to get everything out of the intestinal lining on a regular basis, I was looking at what is the best and safest way to do it. Started looking at, you know, the psyllium husk, the Metamucil, the over-the-counter laxatives, but all those cause damage to the bowel. There's only one natural and safe way that you can actually oxidize. You know, those things just scrape the wall.
Oxygen kills everything bad in the body.
Or some of those intestinal cleansers like laxatives will suck the water into the bowel, and then you can go into dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, stuff like that. But oxygen, a reactive oxygen species, is actually going to have an electron to give. So most of the toxins and the compaction that are in your bowel is positively charged. So this works in an oxidation reduction form. So it actually turns the solid matter into a liquid or a gas.
Well, think about how oxygen out in the open eats steel. I mean, it's really powerful.
Right. So we're already oxygen deficient anyway. I mean, we've gone from 28, 32% oxygen in the air down to like 6 and 9% sometimes in cities. So we actually need more oxygen in the body. And once the oxygen goes in, once it goes in and it mixes with the hydrochloric acid in your stomach, millions of little oxygen bubbles are released. It's kind of like that commercial, that scrubbing bubbles commercial, where it just scrubs all the way down your intestinal lining and actually oxidizes and melts away all that stuff. See, there's nothing else out there that's going to actually melt it away. The bulk fiber products that people take are just going to bulk up in the intestines and maybe scrape a little bit off the sides, but nothing's going to actually chew all the way through and melt everything down.
And I've already in 2 weeks after Anthony was like, look, just take it. You know, you'll want to carry it. And I was like, Really? Because, I mean, I've never messed with my guts. And I've taken, some of the, fiber stuff. I don't have a lot of issues, so I didn't think I really needed it. Well, I guess I did have issues because it's just incredible how much weight I've lost. Like I said, it wasn't even really the fat. That's been slowly going away with exercise and, supplementation and eating better. But this literally just suddenly my belly got smaller. It literally is amazing.
It doesn't matter if you're stressed out. I mean, every single disorder is associated with the gut. And that's what I was telling you when I was doing my research. I found out that the medical profession doesn't want to teach their doctors too much about the guts. I talked to gastroenterologists that didn't even really know what was going on with the gut and how to regulate the gut, because they know that if everybody finds out how simple it is to heal your body, prevent disease by just keeping the gut cleansed on a regular basis, then everybody would be doing it. I mean, it's like animals. You don't see constipated animals out in nature and squirrels not going to the bathroom and birds flying over and not going to the bathroom. But you have a constipated nation, and they want it that way. It's one of those systems that's been put into place for eugenics.
Bill and Melinda Gates are obsessed and have spent billions patenting everything to do with gut disorders.
That's right.
And we know that from medical doctors that the vaccines are connected in autism to gut disorders that then obviously affects the brain, because we know the gut is connected.
70% of your immune system, 70 to 75% of your immune system is located in your gut. They know if you take out the gut, you take out the body. That's why it's so important to make sure that your gut is healthy. You avoid the things that damage the gut.
That's why they say go with your gut.
That's right, because everybody, you might be suffering. Well, think about it this way. 95% of the pharmaceutical drugs cause constipation, because they know they don't want you to eliminate your food very fast. They want it to sit inside your system, because the carbohydrates will ferment, the proteins will turn putrefactic, and the fats will turn rancid. And then you'll have a chemical slough inside your intestines. Not only that, but why are they introducing genetically modified foods with the Bt toxin? It burns holes through your gut. All these... They
admit it kills your regular flora.
Why do they put starches and proteins together, like bread and meats together? They know that that causes irregularities. Why do they... once you put chemicals in there like MSG to make food taste better, artificial sweeteners, sugar, white flour, I mean, all of it is designed to wreak havoc on your gut. If you take out the gut, you take out the immune system. If you constipate people, then you're going to have more sickness, more disease, and everything else. So my whole philosophy is you need to be cleansing and flushing your gut out at least 2 or 3 times a week, and repairing that gut lining so your body can naturally reactivate its own self-healing mechanism.
We're being serious here, folks.
This is serious stuff.
This is why you got so many kids that have autism, because the toxins being formed in the gut, because of the Bt factor, the shots, all of it. This is serious.
Listen, if you want to address, people think that they don't have problems with their gut. 10 out of 10 people, 100 out of 100, 1,000 out of 1,000 people have problems with their gut. It's linked to depression, anxiety, fatigue, weight gain.
Yeah, people have nothing to lose. Bottom line,
it all starts from the gut.
You're funding the operation. This is what the group is most proud of. Now I know why. It's over the top. InfoWarsLife.com, 888-253-3139. And it's just amazing that this system literally doesn't want people to know about this. And you were talking to gastrointestinal experts, medical doctors. They're not even aware of it.
Yes, that's right. I mean, as I was doing research and kept going further and further and further, it was amazing to me that our medical scientists, the best in the world that supposedly know about everything in the human body, still didn't know about the appendix or what the appendix does. And when I was studying the intestinal tract and learning so much about how all this works and how the holes are getting burnt in there and why people aren't, cleaning their intestines on a regular basis and how all this led to disease. And then I stumbled across the appendix, and I'm like, let me pull up some medical literature on the appendix. It's got to be important in the body. It's right there at the juncture of the small intestine and the large intestine, and there was nothing there. I was like, wait a second, why is this being hidden? Why is this being hidden?
They say the appendix and the gallbladder are vestigial. That's obviously not true.
Oh, not at all. I mean, I had to actually dig up Russian documents and German documents and have them translated to figure out what the appendix was. And then it was just like, oh my gosh, the appendix is the microcomputer system of your whole body. You think your brain is, but really it's the appendix. The appendix controls your neurological system, your endocrine system, all of the systems of the body. It tells the body what's coming in, what's going out. Why wouldn't your microcomputer be located in your intestines? That's the first exposure point to every single thing that comes into your body. And the appendix is what controls all that and what sends the messages, and it's about the size of your penis.
By the way, just reading medical literature every day because I'm a news hound, I've seen mainline news over the years admitting that they'd, quote, found cells in the intestines that communicate with the spine and the brain. It's all interconnected. That's why they say go with your gut, because your brain's communicating with your stomach, and it's literally like dinosaurs had multiple brains. Well, we basically do. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. The brain of the body is actually the appendix. And so what happens when the appendix becomes inflamed is that you've poisoned it and it's become inflamed. And so what does modern medicine do? They take it out. And then you have all kinds of health problems after that. I mean, that's just one.
Well, they say the gallbladder's not needed.
Right.
But from what I've read, they know it helps detox the liver. It's the liver's trash can, right?
Right. When the liver is congested and the liver is toxic, the gallbladder gets congested, stones start to form in the gallbladder, and then you have a gallbladder attack. And instead of taking medicinal herbs to loosen it up, turn those stones into sponges so they can pass through the ducts, so they can be pushed out of the body, we take the whole gallbladder out. And then the liver has to work and start.
So basically, from what I've read medically, but I'm doing this in layman terms, the liver vomits out poison after it's processed it into the back in to the guts to be flushed out.
The liver has detoxification systems, and it takes the nutrients, it takes the toxins, and converts some toxins into usable forms, or it takes the nutrients and converts them into usable forms for the body. The problem is, it's like an oil filter in your car. If you don't change your oil filter, and your oil filter becomes congested, and the blood can't pump through it, and it can't work properly, then the liver also has stones in it, which most people don't know. They think that the gallbladder just has stones. When's the last time you've seen a doctor do an ultrasound of the liver? They just don't do it. They don't want you to know. It's like another organ. The intestines and the liver are actually the two most important organs in the body that need to be cleansed on a regular basis, because the liver becomes so congested. It's like high blood pressure. You know, when someone has high blood pressure, it's not that you have high blood pressure, it's that your liver is so congested and full of stuff that the blood can't even pump through it anymore, and the heart has to pump faster and harder to push the blood through it, so it backs up, and then all of a sudden...
I was reading about the liver. It can be upwards of half dead and grow back. I mean, it is just amazing.
Yes, and the liver regenerates itself every 90 days. That's why, but in order to clean the liver, you need to have healthy intestines. That's why I always start off with intestinal cleansing and then move on to liver and gallbladder cleansing. And there's nothing or no symptom that can't be rectified by just cleansing your body. That's why people did fasting. That's why, people do juicing and they get results.
That's why the Bible said fast and then take herbs. They would eat the herbs at Passover and things like that.
Exactly. I mean, the intestines is just your skin turned inside out. It's made of epithelial tissue just like your skin. And as a matter of fact, when we came out with Oxy powder, people with all kinds of skin conditions, especially acne, all of it started going away, and I had to actually sign an agreement with one of the Oxy companies that came out with a patent for the little pads that you use to rub on your face. The Oxy powder was working so good, and people were writing about it online, but they had the patent for Oxy and acne, so I had to actually take any claims off in referencing acne for the product. But the point I'm trying to make is, anything that you have going on in your skin is also a direct result of what's going on in your bowel. So once you clean your bowel, everything starts to clean up. Your skin starts to clean up. The organs start to clean up. You start having regular bowel movements. People think that they have one bowel movement a day is okay. And I talk to people all the time, and they say that they drink a cup of coffee in the morning, they have a bowel movement, and they're fine. Well, what coffee does is actually cause inflammation and irritation to the bowel. That's why you have that bowel movement. People need to focus on eating clean foods, avoid, toxic beverages, avoid the MSG, avoid the GMO foods. Really what wreaks havoc on the intestinal lining is a combination of all those things, especially gluten now as well. So my recommendations are, clean your intestines on a regular basis. You know, the herbal formulas out there, if you want to use them every now and then, that's fine. But the only way you're really going to truly clean the intestines is with oxygen cleansing. And once your intestines are clean and you're getting that stuff out of your body on a regular basis, it doesn't have time to soak in. You know, just imagine if you're taking in 1,000 particles of fluoride and pesticides and endocrine disrupting chemicals every day and BPAs and all this other stuff, and they sit inside your intestines. Within 3 days, they have time to leak through and then go to your organs and cause disease. But if you're cleansing your bowel on a regular basis, those chemicals that cause the disease aren't able to get into your bloodstream and then, you know, cause you to have all the type of symptoms or develop the diseases that you might have.
Well, I tell you, for the age you are, you look like you're 10 years younger than you are.
Yeah, and I take oxy powder and clean my bowels all the time. But I eat healthy, too. You know, I eat organic. And water is another big thing. You know, most people are dehydrated and your bowels need water. You need to flush the pipe. You know, just think if you had a pipe-like trash can and you didn't have a liner in it and you threw your food in there, you know, every time, and then you emptied the trash can out. And the next day you threw all your food particles in there and you emptied the trash can. Every day would be a small layer of food particles building up on that trash can. And after 30 years, the trash can that was originally this big, the hole in it might be this big. And if, you know, you're not taking that trash can and hosing it down and rinsing it out every day, you know, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's all really gross, so I'm not going to get into it, but it's absolutely true. And it is just, it's so incredible how they've suppressed all this information because they want us sick, because they want to treat the illnesses. They don't want to actually get rid of them. They don't want to find out why breast cancer or diabetes is exploding, even though we know why. They want to just treat it.
Yeah,
it's just incredible. Dr. Group is our guest. I'm Alex Jones. If you just joined us, we covered a lot of really hardcore police state news, you name it. Obama's set to announce all these military actions against who he armed, ISIS. That's coming up tonight. We've got Colonel Schaefer joining us in the next hour, and our reporters are going to be popping in as well. But while we have you here with us, I want to show for TV viewers, radio listeners, can just go to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com to find this. Video model shows how Ebola will spread. It only takes one infection individually making it through an airport checkpoint. Health officials around the world are scrambling to contain the Ebola virus. And this breaks down how it could literally get to millions if just one carrier gets through. It's clearly gone somewhat airborne. That was in the medical data 2 years ago, mainline science. It's not super airborne, but it can in spit particles or mucus particles sneezed out, transfer from apes to humans or in the studies from monkeys to pigs. And a month ago, this was already the biggest Ebola outbreak ever. Now you've got 2,300 plus deaths, and half of those are in the last 21 days. It's reaching that exponential number because now it doesn't show up in 3 days if you get Ebola. It shows up in a couple of weeks. They think it's mutating. We know it has a history of being genetically manipulated by different Western governments. Here's what I'm saying. We know that mass plagues have killed a third of Europe, the Black Plague. We know that this stuff can be real. We know the Spanish flu killed tens of millions at the end of World War I. So I'm concerned about this. If there's a real outbreak, we're not going to be told, though. My great uncle died last November. He lived across the street from my uncle. My aunt had taken care of my great uncle. My cousin, who lived nearby, Peter, got a respiratory issue, was home a few days, found dead in the morning. My uncle had taken care of him. He fought it for a month, and the doctors said that there in Tyler that it was the most full the hospital had ever been with people with respiratory. They said it was bacteria, it was virus, it was a whole bunch of stuff. They said it was normal strep that had mutated, and it killed him. I mean, I'm looking at this next winter coming up. My dad got it, hadn't been this sick in his life, took him a month and a half to kick it. I, like an idiot, went to the medical doctor. They gave me antibiotics. It went away for 2 weeks, came right back. I'd never been this sick. I'm somebody that used to get sick like every 2 or 3 years. Then, Dr. Group, I just went ahead and drank like 3 bottles of colloidal silver over a week, and it went away. I mean, why didn't I do that to begin with? And I'm not saying that's a panacea. It's just that it's so incredible that we already know there's a real plague. They're not going to tell us. What do you think about the Ebola situation? What are you doing for you and your family? I'm not worried about Ebola getting here. I mean, it might happen, but it's certainly ravaging Africa right now. It's terrible. But they're talking about it ending governments, ending states over there. It's so bad. But what about a mousepox? What about a smallpox? What about a mutated black plague? What about a mutated, just run-of-the-mill bacteria from all the GMO, all of the antibiotics in the chickens? I mean, it's only a matter of time. We're already seeing the plagues in our kids from vaccines and stuff. What does your gut tell you?
My gut and the research, just like you've been putting out, shows that we're going to be dealing with a lot of bioweapons here. I mean, we're already dealing with them. So, there's a couple different ways and solutions. I mean, the solution, really, the strongest defense against bioweapons or any type of these viruses or mycoplasms and pleomorphic organisms, which we're seeing now that the viruses can actually change into a bacteria, and that bacteria can change into a mycoplasm, et cetera, is keeping your body clean and healthy. I mean, your immune system is the strongest defense against anything. When the attack it's a twofold attack. They attack your body, they attack your immune system, they lower it down, and the media will create fear, and fear creates extra cortisol production and stress. Well, they know when you're stressed out and you're fearful, your immune system's going to be down by 70%.
So the panic, instead of being in charge and ready, we're supposed to just not have storable food, not have guns, wait and just panic. No, I find it more reassuring to be prepared, but you're saying being prepared and being confident is actually part of beating it.
Well, yes. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people out there don't pay attention, and they just believe what they hear on mainstream news, and they're not going to be prepared. As a matter of fact, they're going to be in a fearful state. They're already. I talk to people every day that are scared, calling my office about Ebola outbreaks. Those are the people that are actually looking for natural. A lot of people out there are waiting for the vaccine. They're sitting there praying, and they're calling the CDC, and they're calling the...
Notice we're seeing record weird respiratory illnesses in children right after the yearly vaccination. It came out last year that the whooping cough was caused by the vaccine all over the country.
That's right.
But they admitted it in California. Their medical doctors went, no, it's the vaccine.
They're begging for a trial Ebola vaccine right now that hasn't even been proven. You have...
From Monsanto.
Yes, you have like 90% of the population that would line up right now at the local drugstore and get injected and not even know what's in that needle.
Bill and Melinda Gates are involved in it.
That's right. Yep. Trace back to the bioweapons, facility. But the thing is, for the listeners, you have the solutions in front of you. I mean, you've been talking about it. I talk about it, stocking up on iodine, which there's never been any virus, bacteria, fungus, any organism that's ever shown a resistance to iodine, to my knowledge. And if anyone has it, show it to me, because I've never seen it. Okay, so you have a stock of iodine. You keep your intestines clean. You keep your body clean. You reduce your stress levels if you possibly can. I mean, with meditation, that's a big, huge thing that contributes to, living in the parasympathetic state instead of living in the sympathetic state. You keep a strong hand of colloidal silver around your house, enough for your whole...
Breathe in 3 seconds, breathe out 5, right? That's been helping me a lot with anger.
Sure. 9 deep breaths has been shown to take you from a sympathetic state into a parasympathetic state. And when we're talking about, digestion, you should do that before you eat too, because a lot of times people have gut problems is that they're eating in a stressed environment. Taking 9 deep breaths before you eat puts you in a situation to where your body can actually absorb food. So being prepared, whether it's Ebola, smallpox, any type of plague, if your immune system's strong, you have clean water, you have clean food, you have silver, oregano oil, which is broad spectrum, MMS, which is another thing that I have, chaparral, some good antivirals, you're going to be in good shape, and you're going to be the one you and your family are going to be the ones that survive. And unfortunately, the people that are going to be running out for the vaccines and getting on antibiotics, which is the biggest joke in the world, to put people on antibiotics when they have viral and fungal and other type of,
Well, my great uncle couldn't breathe. They put him in the hospital. He got back out, gave it to my family probably, and then it killed more people. I mean, it just shows they admit the stuff in these hospitals is the superbugs that almost nothing can kill. I mean, I guess they call them immortal cell lines.
If you have a solution if you can address and attack the root cause of all disease, which is the intestinal lining, all the other stuff is great. But this, actually works on preventing all of the stuff that cause disease and symptoms from entering your body and keeps the most important system in your body. The intestines are the biggest endocrine gland. You know, they regulate serotonin. When you're stressed out, you know, it affects the intestines. Everything in your body starts from the intestinal tract. If you can keep it clean a couple times a week, increase the oxygen content into your intestines, drink more water.
Well, we know cancer doesn't like oxygen.
We know cancer doesn't like it. It's an anaerobic cell line. So when you know, it'd be interesting to see. I've never heard a report from anybody, and we've had people taking this product for close to 20 years. I've never had a report of anybody developing colon cancer while on this product. I've never, ever had that happen. Now, I'm not saying and making any claims, but if you keep your intestines, that's the best way to prevent anything.
You mean 2 + 2 = 4?
Pretty much.
That's kind of racist. Thank you, Dr. Grib. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox Special at InfoWarsLife.com.